Hello and welcome to the M Perspective. My name is Melissa and I'm your host. I always look at feminism as being one of the biggest causes of where we're at as a society today. I think that modern day feminism has completely changed our social way of being. We have not functioned properly since the woke female has come out and said that she can put her vagina on the floor. She doesn't need a husband. She doesn't need kids. And she's going to have a job and she's going to run the rest of her life just on her own. And she's going to be good to go. So I say that kind of jokingly about the whole Cardi B reference. But in a serious note, it's completely destroyed our nuclear family and it's destroyed the dating pool almost for young conservative men, because I feel like young conservative women are a little bit harder to find nowadays, whether that's because the ideology has completely shifted among that generation, or if it's because that those people are just more afraid to speak out and be themselves due to the backlash that most people face from the left and cancel culture world. But I worry about the future of our country, especially like we see that birth rates are on decline, marriage is on decline, divorce is on the upswing. I mean, we're seeing the complete destruction of the nuclear family happening right before us, and nobody seems to be concerned about it in the level in which they should. We have changed the culture of our country so drastically that now men are women and women are men, and you could be whatever you want to be. And if it's a tree, then that's acceptable. You know, we have to cater to your feelings, and your feelings matter far beyond what science and facts tell us. So we're almost destroying ourselves from the inside. And I feel like people are not realizing that. The ones who aren't sitting here listening to my podcast, but the ones who are actively participating in this, new woke way of being. And the wokeness doesn't only like pertain to politics. I mean, we see virtue signaling happening like with the COVID masks, and I have my vaccine. And when everybody on social media posted the black square for Black Lives Matters, when everybody put a Facebook frame around their profile photo for Black Lives Matters, we saw this virtue signaling. I mean, all summer, we see it today. We have people who are like, I have my vaccine and I'm going outside and I still have both masks on. I'm a better person than you. Or, my son is like trisexual pan elements. I don't know, but that means I'm better than you. That means I raised a better kid than you. He's more woke. And that's how it feels. It just feels like you're constantly being told that you are not good enough because you think that you're a woman because you have a vagina. So that told you you're a woman. How dare you? How dare you come out and say that, as Greta Thunberg would say? How dare you? That's a whole nother topic of how we cater to people who have feelings. I mean, you have a child who's coming out and she's upset about the climate, so we decided to give her a national platform, or not national, a global platform. Excuse me. So these are just some of my issues that I have with current day times, but I want to like chronologically get to each of them and kind of go down the line of where I think we've gone so wrong. But there's so many topics that it's almost impossible to pinpoint exactly where it started. But again, I think feminism is just a massive cause. I think that things were better when men were working and women were home, and we live in a society right now where that's not acceptable. We can't even have women staying home most of the time because we don't even make enough money anymore to be able to support a wife and children and ourselves as a man and go to work every day and pay for school and pay for everything that your child needs without the wife working. So it makes it difficult. And I think that was intentional. I think we intentionally got to this place because when you actually destroy people from the inside and you have people thinking that they're worthless, or you have people fighting each other over such ridiculous things, you're giving your government power over you that they didn't once have. Government can rule, absolutely, when they're people that they're governing are weak. So the weaker we are, the more power we give them. COVID has made us extremely weak. Everybody's mentally weak. Everybody's tired. Everybody's tired of sitting inside. Everybody's tired of working from home. Everybody's tired of not being able to go outside without a mask, without somebody near them looking at them like they've, just committed a felony. So you have this exhaustion, right? And then you have this insanity, and then you put the wokeness on top of it, and you're just making a breeding ground for absolutely miserable human beings who do really, really bad things. And I think we're going to see some really bad things continue to happen. I think that men and women are equally as important in the world. I just think that we're important for different reasons. I think that I have a lot more value than a man does when it comes to taking care of my home and, being able to organize the family and cart children around and make sure that everybody's where they need to be and everybody's fed and happy and healthy, while men have a great way of being able to run businesses and handle a lot of stress in the business sphere and be able to make their money and bring it home to their families. Now, I have a full-time job. I am successful in my career and I make my own money, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But this idea that that's, exactly what I need to be because I'm just as good as men is just not something that is within me. I don't care. I don't care to be in this battle with men. I don't care if I make as much money as my male counterpart, and I really don't care. I don't care what he makes. I don't care what he's doing with his life. I don't care what his wife does. I don't care if she sits home. I don't care if she runs 7 businesses out of their basement. I don't care. We have this obsession with one another where we have to care so deeply about what everybody's doing, and we have to be so innately involved in everybody's damn business that we have completely ruined our own selves in this process. Technology is one of the worst things to happen to us because it gave people who thought feminism was a great idea a really easy way to get that idea out to the masses and completely infect an entire generation of human beings. If you sit on TikTok for a couple hours, you'll be able to see the complete demise and destruction of our society and our youth. I mean, it's not even laughable anymore, to be quite honest. It actually makes me very, very upset. And it makes me worried to try to raise children in this climate. I personally do not have any kids yet, but it is something that, of course, I want. And you can't help but think that, am I doing the right thing by having kids? Am I bringing children into a world that is not ready for them or is not going to be accepting of them because I'm going to teach them normal things? I'm going to teach them that if they are a boy, they are a boy. And if they are a girl, they are a girl. And I'm going to teach them that, this is how life works. And I apologize if there's things in it that hurt your feelings. And I'm really sorry that your feelings are hurt. However, there's certain things that are just facts. They just are what they are. And we can't keep morphing and changing things to appease the 1% that is upset. I mean, I would probably argue to say that maybe 1% of women were extremely angry over some of the things that they were fighting for. And now I would argue to say that maybe 3% are really angry due to the movement. But we cater to that small percentage while the majority is constantly saying, you know what, it's fine. As long as you don't tread on me and as long as you don't invoke that into my world, it's fine. If you leave it over there and that's how you feel and that's how you want to live your life, that's fine. But that's been the problem with us conservatives, is that whatever the left does, we say, okay, you're not treading on me, right? So because you're not treading on me, you can go over there and you can do that. If it makes you happy, you stay in that lane and you go ahead and you do that. But then when it starts to bother me is when I'm going to get upset, right? But what we've done is we've allowed them to get away with just so much that to reel them back in at this point is so difficult. And it's not just on the topic of feminism, reeling them back in. It's on the topic of coronavirus and these lockdowns and where we've ended up. It's the topic of, the Black communities and what they need. It's the topic of election integrity. I mean, it's policy shaping this ideology. It's insane. And you have people who say, I get told all the time, please, that I'm insane because I'm a female and I'm not a feminist. I must have this argument weekly at work about why do I not care more about women in the workplace? And I just don't. I just do not. It's not a battle that I'm willing to fight either. It just doesn't make any sense to me. What is the problem? Go to work, make your money, and go home. And if you don't like where you work, it's a good thing you're not a tree and you can get up and you can move on. You can find another company. If your company doesn't value you, it probably has absolutely nothing to do with your gender, and it probably has a whole lot to do with your boss is just an asshole. Let's be frank. If you don't like your job, move on. If you're happy with your job, stay there. Why have we made everything so hard? We have taken the simplest facts of life and we have completely convoluted them into oblivion just to make problems for ourselves so that we can ask the big bad government to solve it. You know, it's just we want things that are unattainable. And if we're unhappy with it, the solution now is to get on Twitter, state your opinion, cancel anybody who disagrees with you, and hope to God that Joe Biden passes some sort of a law to protect you in your craziness. So if you want to say, hi, my name is Melissa and I identify as a tree. I now need to have everybody else respect my identity as a tree. That's insane. I'm not going to call you a tree. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to refer to you as said tree. That's insanity. It's lunacy at this point. We are glorifying mental illness and we are glorifying this gender dysphoria, as a lot of people talk about. And I know this is a little off topic of feminism, but I told you guys in my first episode that I may wander and get into different areas because that's just how my brain works. But it's the same thing with gender dysphoria, right? We have said, hey, it's fine. Be whoever you want. It's cool. You're good. And we'll conform to that. You could change your sex and identity on your driver's license, on your birth certificate. We will actually, what we'll do internally is we'll update all of our applications and all of our forms to make sure that we have every single alphabet covered for you, just for you, because you have one person that identifies as a ballpoint pen. So now we need to have that as an option for you to select on your job application or on your welfare application or on your, driver's license ID. This is insane. We have never had a problem with gender norms, feminism at the level in which we do today. We just haven't. And if somebody wants to enlighten me, there's a lot that I'm uneducated about. And I'm the first one to tell you that I do not know everything. So if somebody wants to enlighten me at a time where we have been more screwed up in the head than we are right now, I am all ears. But I can't figure out that time. And it's scary and it's frightening and I see it daily. I mean, we're a small office. We don't have that many people that work with us. However, I hear conversations and I have conversations, and sometimes I'm just absolutely mind blown at the thought process of some people and how disconnected from reality they can be, or how deeply influenced they've been from their mainstream media sources. And, we have 25-year-olds like thinking that Don Lemon is reading them the Bible of like how to be an American, and he's not. We have people who, when you give them like podcasts to listen to, like I listen to Ben Shapiro a lot, I listen to Candace Owens a lot, I listen to Steven Crowder a lot, and I give these names out to people and I'm like, hey, please go out and listen to these people because I know that they have changed my life and my way of thinking, and I hope that they would have that same effect on you. But I always get met with them, I'm good. I mean, NPR is not biased or anything, so I'm good. And I'm like, okay, like you can't fight that. There's certain battles that you can't fight. But I do think that what we can do as a community is we can have these conversations. We can get our views out there. We can come together and realize there's probably a lot more of us that think this way than we realize. And if we come together and we share the information and, we just try to raise decent, responsible human beings and kind of curb this cycle for the future generations, we may be successful. I do think that we have quite a big fight on our hands. I think that we have a massive shift in the culture war in America. And I think it's going to take a lot of work on the conservative end to completely overcome this battle that we're seeing. I know I started this podcast because I wanted to overcome that battle and I wanted to see if there was something that I could do that could open the eyes of some people and make some change in a positive direction. So I hope that that's what this accomplishes. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And at least it gave me an ability to say, hey, I gave it a shot and I tried. But I just think that we're being stifled and, we're getting banned on every platform. I've been banned on Twitter a few times. I'm already losing some likes and stuff on YouTube from last night to this morning. So it's any topic that you want to discuss that happens to lean conservative is, bad juju, or you can't listen to it and like sage a room after you hear it. So we're in this weird turning point, but I think that if the conservatives stick together, and I think that if we all start talking and we all start sharing each other's information and we start coming together as a group of people that wants the greater good for this country, I think the truth will prevail and I think freedom will prevail. And I think the patriots will fight even harder. I want to do an entire episode dedicated to Black Lives Matter and George Floyd and Chauvin. That's an episode that I really don't want to kind of shoot off the cuff with. I want to take some time and I want to really think about exactly what I want to say. because I think it's a sensitive topic and I think there's a lot to unfold there. And I know it's been talked about quite a few times, but I feel like the implications of what happened in the 2020 riots and what's happening now in society is going to be very important to continue to discuss. Um, so that is going to be coming up in a future episode. And I know President Biden is going to be giving his first address tonight. So I will be tuning into that and I will probably be live tweeting most of it. If any of you guys are following me on Twitter, I greatly appreciate it. I'm not sure how hopeful I feel for his address tonight, to be completely honest. I'm a little nervous. I've never seen the man have a conversation that lasted more than 6 minutes that was productive or cohesive, or, he's never seems to really be coherent. The man falls up the stairs getting on the plane. So it's a little interesting to say the least about what we're going to see tonight. So if you're not going to tune in, or if you didn't know what was happening, I think it's around 8:30. I highly suggest that you tune in and you listen. I'm sure I will unravel some of it in the coming days. And as this podcast is pretty new, I am working on getting some people who want to jump in on certain topics scheduled to come onto the podcast. So it will take a little time to really get this thing off the ground. But if you are here and listening, I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time. And until next time, you can follow me on Twitter at mperspectivepod, and we'll talk to you soon.